and definitely knows the strengths of the Adagio, and Adagio Grumpjaw is such a strong combo, so I want to see if they do go for it. I'm kind of surprised that they're even putting this much thought into it.
Arden will most likely be picked up here along with the Adagio, or if they want to go really aggressive, Fortress could be picked up as well. So let's see if they decide on that Adagio combo. Yep, they will, and then they have Arden or Mr. Fortress. So what are you going to decide here? Arden or Fortress, or even do a Captain Grumpjaw, which I doubt.
I think actually I'm leaning towards a Captain Adagio and still picking up a hero for PT Lamb here. But we'll see where they decide to go for it. It's just because I know Mowgli plays a lot of Adagio. That's the only reason why I'm leaning towards it going into the captain role.
Or they can even go for Finn, because Finn is good into Lance. So they have Finn on Mowgli, which is great. Oh, yep, you can go for Fortress. Yeah. And this is scary as heck, because Lance will get melted by the mortal wounds and bleed stacks from Fortress. They need to pick...
10% health.
Yeah, they need... I don't even know what FNATIC needs to do here, because anything else they pick is really going to count. They can't pick a squishy. They need to pick something tanky. So potentially like a Rhyme maybe. I don't know what can really match into this comp here, because if they pick Celeste or anything like that, or Scarf, it's going to be really risky. So it could work. So let's see how it's going to play out.
Yeah, at least with Scarf, you can try and keep the fight at arm's length, right?
Yeah,
try
I
and
think
stay
that's the
away
idea
from the
here is
Grumpjaw.
to kite a bit with the Scarf and use the Lance and the Glaive as protection to continuously peel for that Scarf to keep the Grumpjaw and the Fortress off of him, but that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot about execution. How are we feeling about the drafts then? Do we feel like either team has a significant advantage going on into this game?
I think Dynasty has a huge advantage with Grumpjaw. That's assuming they're going to play it really well. Early mid-game, they're going to win hands down, and if they don't do that, then FNATIC's going to come back, and if Scarf gets full build late game, then they can win with Scarf.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really liking the Adagio Grumpjaw combo. I think that's going to be a huge advantage.
So a lot about the early game, a lot about abusing the power that they have with the Adagio and the Grumpjaw and getting on into that jungle. Make sure to get involved on Twitter. Hashtag Vainglory8 is the hashtag to use, but it's time to give it over to our casters to start series number 2.
Very interesting game, this one, and I'm intrigued to see where this Grumpjaw actually goes, because it's actually PT Lamb who's going to be taking it into this game. Rikumeza going to be playing this Adagio. So are we going to see a lane swap, a role swap here from the side of Dynasty, or is it going to be a lane Grumpjaw? That's the question to be asked. Looking at the starting items, double weapon blade makes me think that PT Lamb is probably going to take it to the jungle.
Well, we still can't tell right now because they're all going to the jungle right now. I'm inclined to agree with you. I think this is a very interesting composition that's coming out from Dynasty, and actually looks like they're being very aggressive, all three moving towards the jungle of FNATIC here, who, although managed to win their games 2-0, didn't exactly have the most comfortable performances yesterday. And it looks like Dynasty are going to deny the Treant away from FNATIC.
They are definitely denying Treant, getting this Elder Treant for themselves. Dynasty, a very dominant performance from them yesterday, and there it is, confirmation. Rikumeza is going to be swapping roles with PT Lamb in this game, taking that Adagio to the lane. Something that we've seen Rikumeza do rarely in the Challenger series when he played for rosters like Denial. He usually jungles almost every game, but sometimes if the composition worked for the team, he would actually role swap into the lane.
Yeah, he would. He definitely would. I'm a bit concerned about this Grumpjaw Scarf matchup in the jungle, actually. I feel like it's going to be very easy for Scarf to be landing those Spitfires onto PT Lamb there, and to use the Fan the Flames perk to make it life difficult for PT Lamb. And I think especially with that Scarf Lance combination, they can really gain a lot of jungle control over PT Lamb. And I think that's something they're going to be very cautious of. Mowgli has to be on top of those rotations to make sure PT Lamb and Rikumeza gets the support that they need.
Something I tweeted out before this started, and I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast, Shinyi, is that the possibility today to have an X-Team Secret versus X-Team Secret final was there. If Dynasty wins this game, they will meet Mouse in the finals, and that reality, that dream will become a reality. So something to keep our eyes on. FNATIC, though, they had a win yesterday. It was slightly sloppy. Players recognizing that they made mistakes and will have to work upon it. We'll have to see if coming into today's matches, they will be having that at the forefront of their mind.
We did see that jungle Scarf come out from Palmatoro yesterday as well, and it was going into that a Grumpjaw as well, weapon Grumpjaw, and I think the Scarf really struggled going to the Grumpjaw because once we got into the late game, the cooldown on the stuff was very short, but never mind that.
There's Rickameza caught entirely out of position. Yesterday, Techno JJ was a monster on this glaive, was nightmare on this glaive, Shinyi, and you just cannot afford to be afterburn out of position. Look at this though, Dynasty, they clear out some of the back camps, trying to make the most out of a sticky situation, get some gold into them, and they will be able to port back. They've got a full jungle to clear, so denying gold from Palmatoro.
Yeah, they are denying that as well, but if you look at the CS difference between Techno JJ and Rickameza, there's a big difference there. 10 CS at 3 minutes. It's a fairly significant difference there. But it looks like Rickameza's going to catch up a little bit. But now, FNATIC just with a very, very actually negligible gold lead.
Yeah, it is, and this is purely due to the fact that jungle camps were denied. More importantly, is experience denied. That's the place where you get experience, it's the jungle. You go to lane for gold and you go to the jungle for experience. And so denying experience away from this Scarf means that PT Lamb on this Grumpjaw has the ability to really try and create an advantage for himself. That is going to be that Treant secured by Palmatoro, able to goop it over the wall. But right now, we need to see if Dynasty can make this Grumpjaw pick work for themselves. We saw massive success with it yesterday from Hyde. Of Tempo Storm with a Fortress paired with it, and even the potential to buff up. Oh, he's walked into a trap here. Techno JJ does fall back, doesn't want to engage further, and he's going to knock Mowgli back as well.
Yeah, but not the best face check there coming out from PT Lamb. We're talking about the Grumpjaw and whether or not it could work, and as I was saying before, Palmatoro, he was facing up against a Grumpjaw yesterday, a carry Grumpjaw, and the issue was that once we went into the late game, the cooldown on the stuff, it was like 20 seconds, he wasn't able to block it, and actually it's one of those ultimates that's very, very difficult to block, and every single time, you just see that Grumpjaw going straight for Palmatoro, taking him out of the fight completely, just leaving Techno JJ and Netflix in the open, and it actually worked fairly well for them. I'm hoping to see the same thing happening this time, and especially with that Fortress there, they've got that early game aggression, then they also have that mortal wound that they can apply as well, that can really make life difficult with that slope. Mowgli's caught out right now.
He is caught out, and there's nowhere to go but forward when a Fortress. He's healing himself, doing his best to sustain, but he just can't do enough. That's going to be Rickameza compelled up. Netelet catches, and they're going to continue chasing forward. Nice Giphy and more. Rickameza will fall. A double for Techno JJ, starting to get that kill streak going for himself. And FNATIC looking much cleaner in today's match.
Definitely much cleaner. Rotations much more slicker, and just very nice pickup there from the kill. They're using, I think Techno JJ on that lane glaive, extremely strong. He's using his afterburns extremely well, and I think his KDA from yesterday on that lane glaive kind of said all, because I think there was a point where he was like 9-0-1 or something like that, or 9-1-1.
Well, he hit 11-0-1, I believe, because he went Nightmare. So it was either that or it was 9-1. 11-1 and whatever. So
either way, the scores were impressive.
Impressive KDA, impressive plays. Here comes PT Lamb. He's charging forward. They're looking to look for an engage. No, they're not. They're just pushing up the lane. Very peculiar strats here from Dynasty. Yesterday we praised their macro rotations and their ability to find people out of position and utilize the map perfectly. Today it's not happened.
I think what we're really waiting for is that they're waiting for everyone to hit their ultimates. Especially, so PT Lamb, he has his stuffed ability now, and especially when we're seeing a lot of caps and fortresses, is that they tend to rely on the attack of the pack. Once you reach that level 6, it forces the enemy team to try and get rid of the wolves and just have to disengage from the fight. And I feel like that with the Scarf and Glaive combo, they're not really the best heroes at clearing out those wolves as fast as possible. So I think they're really relying on Mowgli hitting that level 6, which he just did.
That is a big stuff. Yep, that is going to put people out of position. But oh, the goop, they just burn PT Lamb alive. Mowgli caught up. Here comes the Dragon's Breath. And Palmatoro looking for a second. Fountain will save Mowgli's life, but it's not done yet as Palmatoro continues the poke. A siege intimate from FNATIC.
Yeah, they're looking in a very strong position. They pick up the kill very easily there. And oh no.
Oh, Rickameza. That is dead Adagio right there. And Mowgli, he's going to struggle to escape. Palmatoro charging forward with the auto attacks will secure the kill. I was extremely impressed with Palmatoro's Scarf yesterday, Shinyi. Didn't have a great KDA, was consistently focused down by Supremacy, but he put up some killer damage.
I think part of the issue is right now, honestly, it feels like they're not really sure who to focus on. They're not focusing on either Scarf, they're not focusing on either Glaive, and it just feels like there's a little bit of hesitancy in what they should be doing next. And I think that's really in part explains the 6-0 right now that we're seeing, and the 4K gold lead at 7 minutes. That is absolutely massive. And
Incredible.
Dynasty, they looked very strong yesterday. And I think going into this match, a lot of people may be thinking Dynasty looked much stronger than FNATIC, but FNATIC really cleaned up since yesterday.
Certainly did. Dynasty today, definitely a shadow of what they were yesterday. Now, it is worth noting that Dynasty played against Reliable Union, a fairly new team to the VG8, were promoted from the Challenger Series at the end of Split 2, so a very clean game against Reliable Union, but perhaps Reliable Union is not a premier team of EU. Time will only tell. FNATIC, though, they have definitely had a consistent performance throughout the spring season, and is much more of a test for this new Dynasty roster.
Absolutely is. And right now, FNATIC, they're just constantly being very aggressive, just constantly pushing that lane up. That gold mine is looking very full, forcing that lane up, and I feel like they're going to be making moves to try and take that gold mine any second now, which it looks like they are going to be doing that. And I feel like there is a chance for Dynasty to contest it, because they do have all their ultimates available, and I'm fully expecting that stuff to be coming out, because I'm not sure it's going to be blocked by anyone. That gold mine is looking really low.
This Impale will go out from net to let. Attack the pack as well. They're going to look to try and take this gold miner here. PT Lamb charging forward. Crucible used. PT Lamb going to stuff up Techno JJ. Try and bring him back. Gold miner's going very low. They need to finish this or it gets stolen. And Techno JJ comes out of the belly of the world. And he's going to take the gold miner with him. Mowgli goes low. PT Lamb is dead. And this is just domination. Mistakes from Dynasty. FNATIC 7-0. And you can't put Techno JJ in the corner.
Nobody puts Techno JJ in the corner. I don't think anyone is right now. For me, it feels like the composition that Dynasty have picked, it feels like there is potential there, but it just feels like for me right now, as their team, it just isn't gelling together for me, because I feel like there's a lot of potential.
It's Rukumeza's CS deficit. It's almost 40 CS in the lane advantage for Techno JJ, and the fact that this Adagio is so far behind is just problematic for Dynasty, because he has only got himself a single offensive item. He's being forced to go into health. Mowgli's in trouble here. The siege from FNATIC with a scarf is just so good, and they can always reposition someone with an afterburn, Githian War, Impale, CC lock for days. 8-0. But a 6,000 gold lead here for FNATIC. 2 turrets. Is there any comeback?
You see, at the start of the game, we touched on the role swap here between Rukumeza and PT Lamb. And at this point, I'm going to question it, because facing up against a laner like Techno JJ, extremely experienced. Oh, never mind that. Well, looks like they're going to escape this time. But I have a feeling it's not going to be happening. They're not going to get away for too long, but as I was saying before, when you're facing up against a very experienced laner such as Techno JJ, you can really see the discrepancies here between just how comfortable they are. And as you pointed out, there is a major CS discrepancy between the two teams.
Yeah, no, and they're going to go for another fight here, it seems. Techno JJ will disengage. Attack the pack has gone out, but do they just have the damage? No. Dynasty is going to be forced to retreat, and actually serves an opportunity for NetTolet to charge in. Impale onto Rukumeza. They're focusing down NetTolet. Techno JJ in the midst of it all, and he's going to find PT Lamb. Here comes Palmatori's Dragon's Breath burning through the captain of the team. And now it does seem like this will be the beginning of the end here. FNATIC going to open up the base. The choke point turret will fall. Dynasty just so far behind. 8,000 gold at 11 minutes.
Incredibly, they've lost jungle control. They have lost lane control. And if you look at the items between the two teams as well, they are miles behind. And I feel that Mowgli, he's releasing those walls, trying to get those mortal wounds down, and it's not making an impact on the members of FNATIC. They're so far ahead right now, and I think most of the time at this point, most of the teams would just turtle under their turrets. But like you said, the siege potential of Scarf is incredibly strong. I think that Dynasty are really going to struggle to do that.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. 12 minutes, gold mine are going to be taken. You can see Mowgli investing a lot of gold into flares for vision and the minion candy to try and keep this sentry relevant. FNATIC currently looking to perhaps steal one away, but I'm not sure if they will contest with Mowgli showing his face. They know that Rickomeza is in lane. In fact, they know PT Lamb is there as well. They might even just look to try and chase down PT Lamb since he is overextended. Grumpjaw going to try and escape for now. Looks like he might be able to, but here comes Techno JJ. He has that afterburn, and that's going to be knocked back. Does block up the damage, but man, just the damage on Techno JJ is not going to be unanswered. Mowgli is just out of position, dead for all rights. Palmatoro 5, 0 and 7. Techno JJ 0, 7, 0 and 5. 12 kill participation for both the carry and the jungler. NetTolet needs to step up his game on 11 kill participation. Whew, not quite that 100% like the rest of his team.
Absolutely ruthless coming out from FNATIC, and it's very difficult to see how Dynasty are going to come back from this. They don't have the vision. They don't have any control. They're losing it on CS. And if you look at the CS difference between Techno JJ and Rickomeza now, it's increased even further. So it's now actually 40 CS. Palmatoro is still relatively close to PC Lam, actually. There's only 12 between the two teams. But the main difference is the turrets. In the team fights, there is not that much that FNATIC can do, because Mowgli on that Fortress is not meant to be one of those defensive carries. Defensive supports. It's all about being super aggressive, super engagement, and never mind, they're going again.
They're just going in, and that's going to be PT Lamb going very low. Rickomeza is going to be focused down. Mowgli trying to buy time. PT Lamb dives in, but look at Rickomeza. Techno JJ takes him down so easily, and now PT Lamb will be a second for Techno JJ. He's kind of a big deal. 9, 0 and 5. Another 2 kills, and it will be his second nightmare performance on Glaive in a row, Shinyi. Techno JJ's Glaive, it is considerably ban-worthy at this point, I feel. Something that I want to see if Dynasty will recognize.
Must feel good to be Techno JJ today. 14 minutes, I think what we're seeing is FNATIC, they're just biding their time till the 15-minute mark for the Kraken to come out, and then they can really make that final push. Because every single time so far, in the past 2 minutes, is that choke point turret got taken down a few minutes ago. And every time they try and make a move, it just forces Dynasty back into their base. And FNATIC struggling to try and get any damage down onto those last 2 turrets, just waiting for that Kraken to come out. 20 seconds before the Kraken spawns, try and go for that gold mine one last time. And look at the infusions coming out. They are ready to make this final push.
They are, certainly. It is just a decent gold payout, 160 gold each. 15 minutes, the Kraken is about to spawn, but I don't think FNATIC have eyes for that. They see Rickomeza out of position, and they're looking to get that nightmare onto this Glaive. Well, Palmatoro will find his 6, which means that it may not happen just yet, but now the Kraken is up, there's just no potential for Dynasty to contest. 15 and 0, FNATIC looking to finish this out with a Kraken.
And it definitely looks like they are going to finish it off. 15 minutes left on the mark. There's going to be absolutely no contest, and I think this is going to be the end of the game for Dynasty Gaming.
Yeah, no, Kraken Unleashed. I don't see a possibility for Dynasty that they win a fight. Rickomeza, unfortunately, just was outclassed by Techno JJ's Glaive, as was HF Guy, as was Daredevil. Yesterday from Reliable Union, Techno JJ just putting up killer performances.
Absolutely. Second time in a row. It's really strong performance coming out from Techno JJ. And it feels like the peel coming out from FNATIC is so strong, and that's really caught Dynasty off guard. Because if you look at the side of Dynasty, the only peel that they really have is coming out from the Grumpjaw with the Stuffed. And FNATIC, they've got this Afterburn, this Githian Wall Impale combination that they're pulling off flawlessly every single time. And I think a lot of people struggle to see mistakes that FNATIC are making right now as they make that final push for the Kraken.
Yeah, looking for a final fight here. Dynasty trying to push FNATIC off, but this first Vein Crystal turret will fall. NetTolet catches out Rickomeza, and that's going to be Techno JJ finding his kill. One more, and he is a nightmare. PT Lamb trying to put him onto the base. He's going to have to dive away. If he dies, that is reset, but it just looks like it's the end here. Techno JJ not even going to look for Nightmare. FNATIC just going to take the game very, very cleanly. Question marks over this royal swap from PT Lamb and Rickomeza.
And I hope that we won't be seeing this royal swap for the next game. I feel like it was a risk that they took, and they may have worked off in the Challenger Series, but would not be working off in the Vainglory 8. Just did not feel like they were comfortable on their roles that they were playing today.
Yeah, I think that's probably the talking point that the analysts will focus on for us, Xinyi. So without further ado, let's throw it back to them. FNATIC, a very clean game one.
Yeah, not just a clean game, Dowsy, a perfect game coming out from FNATIC, not losing a single objective, not losing a single life across the game. And honestly, there's a lot to talk about here because obviously there's the role swap that kind of really didn't work out for the side of Dynasty. But let's talk about the draft first, because it was my opinion, and I believe yours as well, that Dynasty pretty heavily won the draft.
Yeah, Dynasty had a much better composition coming into this one. They had all the tools they needed to win this game. I mean, they got Grumpjaw Adagio. That's one of the strongest combos and duos in the game right now.
Yeah.
And they just didn't execute on it.
What did they need to do to actually make this work?
They needed to Scarf out. Scarf is so weak in the early game, pre-level 6, and Grumpjaw needed to just live in the jungle. Fortress had a Dragon Blood contract, and they needed to engage. Often not, FNATIC was really good at catching out opponents with an Afterburn and a Lance Scythian wall stun into the wall, etc. And you need to engage with Fortress. Fortress is not a PO. Like, if you get engaged on as a Fortress comp, it's going to put you in a really bad situation. And I felt like they didn't maximize that early game. Adagio, Fortress, and Grump are all very strong. And the synergy here, Ricky was focusing the gold mine while Grump has Glaive in his stomach, and Fortress ulted. Like, they should have went on to FNATIC instead of trying to take this gold mine. So I feel like the communication isn't there, or something was happening, and the team is just not playing well. Definitely different than yesterday, given such a strong competition they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to talk about this role swap, right? We've been talking about how PT Lamb was coming in as a role swap for the team, right? Going into lane, who's used to jungle. Stepping into jungle for this game, but I don't think it's PT Lamb necessarily we need to focus on. Riku Meza looked really uncomfortable in the lane.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've talked about in past seasons is teams that have these flexible players that can switch between jungle, lane, captain, such like that. And on the one hand, it's a slight advantage because it makes your team a little bit more unpredictable. But on the other hand, you're going up against someone in the lane who is a laner, who has only plays lane, like focuses lane all the time, and you're someone who doesn't necessarily focus on playing the lane all the time. There's a big disparity there. Now, with where Vainglory is at now, that is such a huge discrepancy, and we showcased in this game. There's at one point he was like 40 to 50 CS behind his opposing laner. Like, that is a unacceptable difference at this level of play.
The fact that that lane matchup between PT Lamb and Techno JJ was our kind of matchup to watch for this game kind of shows the shoes that Riku Meza actually had to step into to get in this game.
Yeah, that just shows you, even though you win draft, and I try to predict what makes sense for the draft, and teams will pick something different that doesn't make sense, it's because of comfort picks. And I felt like even though they got the superior draft, they weren't on their comfort rows and comfort picks. In terms of lane and jungle, and that's why like the rotations were off. They weren't putting pressure like they usually do. They weren't taking advantage of the Dragon Blood contract and the early game aggression that they had. So a lot of things just didn't work out for Dynasty, and that's why it resulted in FNATIC just getting a perfect game.
We said that this series for Dynasty will be the tester of how good this team actually is. Obviously, we've only had one game. We saw TSM yesterday had a very bad first game, but they came back swinging. Maybe the same thing can happen here. Looking towards the next draft. Dynasty, I would say, don't necessarily need to change anything draft-wise, but what are you guys expecting?
I mean, I just want to see them just go back to their, their original role assignments. Like, if PT Lamb is in the lane, I mean, may as well change his name to PT Lane so he can't go anywhere else. That's what needs to happen here. But he is such a good laner that I really want to see them just put that focus on. And again, maybe if the meta picks, like if that Grumpjaw is just something that Riku Meza is not comfortable on, then ban it away. That's why the bans are there. It's not just to take away strength from your opponents. It's also to take away picks that are just strong in general that you are not necessarily comfortable on.
So, Suijay, are we expecting a lot of changes on the FNATIC side of the draft? Because even though they won, it didn't feel like that strong.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be consistent. They normally pick Lyra first side and A side, so this is a nice ban by Dynasty. It definitely did their homework. I think FNATIC's probably gonna first pick like Vox. Dynasty needs to grab Glaive right now and put PT Lamb on that Glaive because he's so good on Glaive, and he's shown as Glaive he can shut a Vox on really hard.
Is that more priority than Grumpjaw though?
Yes, I
After
think they
your last
do.
game,
yeah,
absolutely.
oh yeah. Just take the glaive and ban the Grumpjaw or play Captain Grumpjaw or something.
I think that's actually even why FNATIC was like, all right, we're going to take Vox and leave Grumpjaw open because you guys just proved you aren't comfortable with it, so go ahead and take it if you want. Like, I think they're trying to bait them into a Grumpjaw pick.
Yeah, they should pick glaive, ban Lance, and then take Grumpjaw, and then play Grumpjaw glaive, which is extremely strong combination together with the eats and the afterburns, etc. So let's see what Dynasty is going to decide to do here. But they need to prioritize a key hero for PT Lamb, and I would love to see Night Glaive. So they're going to decide on the Adagio. They should ban Lance here because Lance is really good into Adagio, but they're going to ban a Grumpjaw instead, and maybe take Lance here. So maybe, but Lance isn't as good into Vox, but FNATIC might still ban the Lance anyways, or ban Arden because they don't want to give Dynasty Arden. That's a big pick that Dynasty likes. So let's see what FNATIC's going to decide here.
Could you see a glaive ban from FNATIC here?
Very well could. Because glaive with an... Okay, yeah. Glaive Adagio is a very strong combo, so we could still very much see the glaive come through for Dynasty. I would still very much like to see
they need to take glaive here and run a Captain Adagio because that's a very strong combination. However, Lance is still open. But if PT Lamb can lane the Adagio, then yeah, put PT Lamb on that lane Adagio. Arden is good, but Lance is still open. And Lance is good into Adagio because he doesn't have a really good escape, and it's so easy to land a root against an Adagio and CC him to death.
Yeah, so now the difficult picks for FNATIC. You know, that Vox is relatively comfortable first pick. You know that it's great. You know that it's consistent and works in most compositions. Now they have to figure out what they can do that's good into Dynasty, but also supports that Vox and builds a strong composition.
Yeah, glaive is really good into Dodge as well, so they can do glaive Lance again, but this time a CP glaive. That's an option, but I think the Lance makes sense. They also do Koshka Fortress with Vox, which I know they can play Koshka. So that can be an option as well if they want to play a really aggressive combination into Adagio.
Yeah, both of these teams are actually can definitely play the Koshka fairly well. Riku Meza Koshka is one of the heroes that he does play quite a bit, but they're going to go ahead and grab the Finn here. Using the Finn against the Mowgli now. This is an interesting one because if anyone knows that hero, it's going to be Mowgli.
For sure, and Finn has had a lot of favor in Europe so far today. A lot more than certainly more than I was expecting coming into today. But it is going to be NetToilet stepping up to the plate on the Finn. We'll see, as you say, whether he can go against kind of the king of Finn himself.
And a Sky is picked up. Ooh, that's really dangerous into an Arden because they can do a glaive weapon with Arden is very strong. So hopefully they'll pick up the glaive here or Taka, but weapon Taka isn't the strongest. And I think they need someone to get onto that Sky. And Taka is really good to Atlas the Vox and blow either or up. So let's see what they decide to do here.
Right now in this series, to me, FNATIC are building themselves a reputation of not just playing meta, not just playing what people are expecting, but bringing in their own compositions. Whether or not they can make it work twice in a row, we'll have to wait and see.
All right, and there's the Idris coming out from the side of Dynasty, and so very likely to be that jungle Idris for Riku Meza, which I was looking up his stats before because I don't have a whole lot on him from professional competitive play, and Idris was not one of the ones that really showed up too much. So it'll be interesting to see how well he's able to do with this, assuming that he does end up taking it into the jungle.
So with these drafts, how are we feeling coming into this game?
I really like FNATIC's draft because even though Idris is mobile, a good Finn can CC him. And on top of that, Vox is actually good into Idris because he's mobile as well. Sky too, actually. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be how the teams will play, but I do like FNATIC's draft a little better.
Very quickly, your thoughts, Bacon?
I like both drafts a bit. I do think FNATIC has a slight edge, but I think Dynasty's going to come back strong, and Dynasty will be able to take this game.
All right, well, FNATIC lost the draft in game 1 and won anyway. Can they win the draft and the game this time? We'll have to wait and see. Get involved on social media. Let us know if you think Dynasty are coming back. But with that, it's time to pass over to our casters.
Will this Idris pick be the key is the question. Riku Meza will be playing Adagio once more, Shinyi. I'm secretly hoping, and we're not so secret now, that it's going to be a jungle Adagio, and by looking at the starting items, with PT Lamb picking up a Book of Eulogies, you only do that if you're taking Idris to lane.
Yes.
So, it is going to be a jungle Adagio. Riku Meza confident in his Adagio ability, but playing in the jungle this time.
Happy days for you. I think that was something we all touched on there, but it looks like they're back into their comfort roles. But you and I were talking about this during the draft phase. We're a bit surprised by the lack of Glaive pick, because it was open there for Techno JJ, but he's gone for the Vox, still an old favourite. And Dynasty, they're the ones that are starting off the aggressive pick, denying the Treants away from FNATIC. They were looking extremely strong.
That Glaive into Idris would be a fairly favourable matchup for the Glaive. The Afterburn early game, Idris of course has his Shroud Step, which is a roll for you unlock divergent paths at 200 weapon power, so or 205 I think it is. So it does mean for Techno JJ it would have been advantageous. I actually like Idris into Vox, but it is a skill matchup. Idris, of course, highly mobile in the late game, and if he lands a great combination onto Vox, can really go head-to-head. But with the sustain build that Techno JJ is incredibly likely to build, it is going to be a very, very even matchup as far as his weapon power carries are concerned, and so early game advantages are going to be really, really crucial to dictating who wins this game.
Absolutely, and PC Lamb Techno JJ is going to be an incredible lane matchup. They're both incredibly strong, and I think yesterday PC Lamb was the one with the somehow just managed to keep staying alive, picking up the kills even with a small sliver of health. They're on that Vox, and this time we're seeing him on the Idris there against Techno JJ's Vox.
Yeah, no, and just a bit of damage. Chakram really early on though does a lot. Watch PT Lamb's Chakrams in the lane. When he hits it onto Vox, it opens up a huge opportunity for damage onto Techno JJ because of the fact that Idris is a stamina hero. He doesn't rely on energy, rather he regens stamina. So it means that he in lane has a bit of more of an advantage over some heroes because he can poke more often, if not infinitely, if his health bar is there, right? So it does allow for some interesting advantages if Techno JJ was to spam his abilities quite often. But at this level of play, you expect people to really have their energy management on point.
Absolutely, and he's gone for a very defensive start, like I said, with the Book of Eulogies and the light armor as well, so he's not really looking to be super aggressive, whereas for Techno JJ and Nettola, we can just see them constantly being pushed up towards Dynasty side off the lane as well. Oh, Palmator's here, doing a good bit of damage there with that forward barrage. I'm really liking this aggressive lane management coming out from Techno JJ, because I feel like it really forces PC Lamb back. Techno JJ's been doing really well in terms of CS, 32 to PC Lamb's 26, and they're just taking advantage of PC Lamb's kind of first PT Lamb's first itemization picks.
Gonna be Poison Shiv. No, we'll go Sorrowblade, sorry. I don't know why I said it would be Poison Shiv. There's almost no reason not to go Sorrowblade first because it unlocks your divergent paths instantly, Shinyi. Means that you have that Shroud Step. It converts into a blink rather than a roll, and it allows for instant mobility and repositioning.
Absolutely, and I think a bit of a step back from the first game where we saw lots of FNATIC picking up 3 kills very early on right now, and we're already being seen that first fountain being picked up there by Mowgli. Now Toilette still a few hundred gold off, about 200 gold, and actually I think this is a really good power spec here for Dynasty here, and it just looks like they're trying to constantly get aggression down. PC Lamb doesn't have that Sorrowblade that you're hoping for just yet. Still about 700 gold off. I think once we do see that Sorrowblade being picked up, we're going to certainly expect that team fight breaking out almost instantaneously.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that the Poison Shiv early for Techno JJ does kind of prevent some of the healing that comes out from this Adagio that Rikameza is currently jungling from Mowgli's Fountain. The Fountain advantage is now gone. PT Lamb is 200 gold away from getting that Sorrowblade, 300, sorry, from getting that Sorrowblade. So he is going to share some gold here in the jungle, share some experience as well, and make sure that he's consistently moving towards that major item spike for Idris. Should be able to get it pretty soon. In fact, this lane farm will get him to the 1300 gold. It is necessary for him to now purchase that Sorrowblade. And when you play Idris, you really don't want to delay getting that Sorrow Blade, even if it means you lose a couple of CS, as soon as you get that Sorrow Blade, it's a huge power spike for yourself, a huge ability to reposition. And Munda, if Dynasty are actually just going to look to try and force the fight directly around it, FNATIC definitely know the timing is there. Palmatoro has made his way to the lanes, so it might be a little bit difficult for Dynasty to force a fight.
He's also got that Frostburn as well, and recommends that he's just because his ultimate and current. And Palmatoro, oh, where they're going in, the Death Marble being thrown down.
Doesn't hit anything. Another thing that's really fun as Idris is that Guy loves to dance backwards, but with the Shimmer Strike, your ultimate on Idris, you can actually stick to this guy. So when she throws out her Series Strike and she throws out her forward barrage to try and escape whoever is chasing her, a Shimmer Strike just avoids all of that. And not only that, you can reposition yourself on the other side of Sky and look to try and single her out. So these are some Idris mechanics that PT Lamb may decide to operate, but Rikomeza looks like he's caught here. Looks like FNATIC will continue chasing forward. Nettolet with a huge quibble slows Mowgli down. Fountain popped. Dynasty don't want this fight. They're trying to disengage. They're looking to try and escape this one. Mowgli will use his Vanguard locally to escape. It looks like FNATIC just not quick enough to be able to take down the Arden.
Yeah, but they've still held on to their Fountain, but this leaves them really open to take the gold round, which they are going to be doing, because right now, so far, it's been 0-0. It's been a very, very quiet game between the two teams, keeping it relatively even. This should start increasing the gold lead there for FNATIC a little bit. I don't know if PC Lamb's going to be able to steal it in time. He's making moves, he doesn't steal it. And that's an immense gold payout there towards FNATIC. So as you're saying, PC Lamb, he's got this incredible power spec there with that Sorrow Blade as his first item. And it looks like TechnoJ, he's going to be going for that Sorrow Blade as well as his first item as well. So once we see that going, it's just... I feel like both of the teams are really testing each other. Dynasty, they did not have a great first game, especially that role swap going on. But now they look a little bit more comfortable. They're just testing the waters here between FNATIC and Dynasty.
Yeah, PT Lamb's very close to hitting his Poison Shiv. In fact, he might be able to purchase it now. Not entirely sure as he has the Book of Eulogies. He's 200 gold away from purchasing that one. So he is going to be looking to pick it up very shortly. This lane might just be enough to get him to that 800 gold point that he needs now to finish off his Poison Shiv. And then he will likely go Attention Bow. Now, we saw Kavalava play Idris yesterday, Shinyi, and he built Breaking Point as his last item. That was a pretty standard build back in 2.2, 2.1. I don't favor the build personally because Idris, whilst he can blow someone up, that's kind of his aim. He's meant to blow someone up, and oh, look at that lovely dodge away using that Shroud Step to escape. He is in a little bit of trouble. Pops a potion. Mowgli going to come in to support. Lots of aggression coming here. You've got Rikomeza as well, who can heal PT Lamb up a little bit. But the Tension Bow last item, it gives you the Armor Pierce and that extra oomph on your A, which is already a guaranteed critical strike on your auto attack. So it just allows you to really make a big impact on your first auto attack. And then if you were to jump away and disengage the fight and just rinse and repeat that method, then you would be in a good spot going forward. So I really favor this Tension Bow item third on Idris. I wonder if PT Lamb has experience with it. Currently is looking to pick up his Poison Shiv though.
Absolutely, he's got a lot of gold. Same for Rikomeza there, and we did see FNATIC all rotating down to the jungle. They've picked up their Sorrow Blades, they picked up their Infusions, as well as the Atlas Pauldrons. Both of the teams really not making any moves for aggression, but FNATIC have done a good amount of damage there onto the tower thanks to the poke coming out from Palmatoro. And Mowgli, he's got that gauntlet ready. We've not seen it so far this game, sitting at 9 minutes.
Techno JJ getting aggressed onto. There is the gauntlet going down. A reflex block will easily get Techno JJ to safety. CPT Lamb dives forward, pokes, goes backwards. Mowgli was wanting a bit more of an aggressive fight. Didn't feel like Dynasty were quite on the same level and communication point with that one there. Huge ultimate down. Nettolet has his Forced Accord up. They're trying to find out if Rikomeza is here. They now know he's not. And so an opportunity for FNATIC to force a fight around the fact that the jungler is not here, though Rikomeza is making his way up to the lane.
Yeah, they are making their way up the lane. Palmatoro really doing a good job there with the forward barrage to get as much damage there onto the turret as possible. And it just feels like just Mowgli not really body blocking there for the damage. PT Lamb taking a hefty amount there. And still holding on to that fountain though, but FNATIC looking very healthy. They've managed to force the Crucible out. And I think this is a really good opportunity for FNATIC to just try and engage now that they know the Crucible's being used up. But looks like they're just focusing a bit more on that turret instead.
Well, PT Lamb's health bar is really low. The death from above will not really do too much damage to the turret. Gonna chunk it down just a little bit, but the shield was there for half of the durability of that ultimate. So for a moment, FNATIC not really an opportunity to siege just yet. Dynasty going to actually push this lane right up, try and take control over it, make sure that it forces FNATIC to come back and defend their turret, which we will see TechnoJJ do, as well as NetTolet for the support. But this is a very different game, Shinyi. We're at the 11-minute mark. There has not been a casualty of the Halcyon Fold just yet. No one has died. Looks like we might see a fight break out though. Mowgli goes low, PT Lamb decides to disengage. Dynasty very content with just waiting to scale up, but the problem is that Vox and Finn and Sky all have excellent late game scaling, just like the rest of the Dynasty. In fact, PT Lamb once more forced away, the Crucible used just to give him an extra shield, and this turret is likely to fall now.
This feels to me that Rukamet's on that Adagio, so we're seeing him in the jungle position this time. Just really isn't doing too much, so even when FNATIC are poking away the turret, I feel like there's lots of opportunities there to try and get the gift of fire onto the members of FNATIC by healing one of the minions, but I think there's a few missed opportunities there to try and force FNATIC back, but instead allow that slow poke coming out from FNATIC, and they've lost that turret already. So 12 minutes, one turret's gone down, and no deaths have been made. And I just feel, I want to see a little bit more aggression, just a little bit kind of fight coming back from Dynasty right now, because I feel like we're just not seeing much there in that regard.
Ooh, PT Lamb's actually going crit. This is interesting. So a monocle, most likely the last item for him. Very unlikely he would build it into a tornado trigger. Kind of serves the same purpose as a tension bow. The idea is the big crit with the empowered auto attack. But look at the armor that will be on the side of TechnoJJ. He's already building into it. Palmatora unlikely to build armor too soon. Perhaps that's what PT Lamb is betting on, is the fact that the Sky will build armor only if desperately necessary. So perhaps that works out. I'll have to see. Currently FNATIC making aggressive moves. PT Lamb gonna throw the Chakram out. NetTolet looking for an engage, but FNATIC are very comfortable just playing this killless game because they have premier siege potential. The poke, the repeat on there means that eventually they're going to whittle down the health bars from Dynasty, and they can continue just sieging the turrets and chipping away at the stone.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of positioning, they're doing really well of avoiding the damage. And as I said, that Palmasaur took about half of it, got rid of a third of his health there. But they're constantly pushing that wave of minions up, and it just feels like Dynasty, they just don't really have that fight. They're not really pushing back here, and PC Lamb just taking a lot of damage, just a lot of poke coming up from that Sky every single time, as you were saying. And they've got all the ultimates available. Mowgli has that gauntlet, which is a great opportunity to be going in for the fight. I feel like the gold difference at this point is only 3k. It's not the end of the world there for Dynasty, but not really doing much to try and narrow it either.
No, they are looking like they just want to scale, Shinyi. They're looking like they just want to get their items going. Perhaps they felt like the issue of last game was Rikamez was so far behind. He was never a late game Adagio, which is a very scary proposition. Late game Adagio was really, really strong. And so maybe for Dynasty, they're like, you know what, let's just not make any adventurous moves. That way the mistake potential is just not there. We don't have to worry about FNATIC snowballing a game against us, and they feel like they're going to be superior in the late game. FNATIC, though, they are constantly looking for opportunities to catch someone out, and Rikameza is going to be caught in a quibble. It's been overdriven, so it stuns now. Mowgli taking a lot of damage. The death from above doesn't do work, but this forward barrage certainly does. Mowgli down to half HP. PT Lamb going aggressive. Gauntlet goes down. Mowgli half HP. Fountain will come out. They're looking for Palmatora. PT Lamb chasing down. Rukameza taking the damage. And First Blood will go down. PT Lamb and his interest going very low. That's going to be the First of Judgment flying on out, but I'm not sure they have the damage to finish the job here. NetTolet gonna pull PT Lamb in. He jumps straight back out with his Shroud Step. 1 kill to Dynasty. A buff onto PT Lamb. The gift of fire goes out, or Agent of Wrath, sorry. Now, we'll have to see if Dynasty can catch someone out. The Kraken has just spawned. Palmatora is back up. They steal away that Treant, so they get the health onto PT Lamb. And now, just a single kill at this 14.5-minute mark.
We get the kill there onto Palmatoro, who used Series Strike just completely onto PC Lam. PC Lam just left him. PC Lam was just able to stick to Sky, and this is what you said earlier, was that Idris, who you can stick onto that Sky, and Sky is notorious for her mobility, is able to avoid those attacks as much as possible, is able to stick onto her, and we saw him just giving her a very, very tough time. And like you said, not really going to be investing in that armor very early, didn't really have the armor, and we saw how quickly Palmatoro went down to Idris when left in a 1v1 situation. But
it is a tornado trigger. Yeah, so he's going for more attack speed. Poison Shiv already gives you a substantial amount of attack speed. It's one of its big advantages was when the attack speed changes happen in Xingyi, Poison Shiv was not affected by them, so it was, whilst all the other items were nerfed heavily on attack speed, Poison Shiv remained relatively the same, which was a theoretical buff, a relative buff, I guess you could call it. Tornado trigger for extra attack speed, so PTLM really wants to be putting out a lot of crit damage. It is a peculiar build, but PTLam currently is the only person to have a kill in this game, so I'm not yet one to question it. Currently though, FNATIC sieging.
They're sieging again, and that force core is going to be blocked. So this is what we've been seeing. I think pretty much for the last 15 minutes of the game, it's just a slow siege, just slowly poking away. And oh no, PC Lam's going in.
That's going to be the gauntlet going down. Techno JJ taking a lot of damage. It's going to be the wait for it flying out. PT Lam in a bit of trouble, but he's not actually. He just blows up onto Palmatoro. He goes. Rikameza goes very low, but can heal himself up. They want to avoid that forward barrage, but that's what Idris is so good at doing, just stepping to the side of it. Rikameza, though, has to be careful he doesn't go down here. Death from above going to trap him, but PT Lam looking for the kill, and the kill he will have. An impressive scoreline. PT Lam knowing exactly the limitations of Idris currently. A second kill, the staggered respawns means that an opportunity for the Kraken is now here for Dynasty.
Very different story from the last game. And this Dynasty with the perfect game so far. PT Lam with all 3 of the kills, and even though FNATIC, they're the ones that look like they've been the most aggressive so far, still sieging away.
Forced to caught up. Whoa, that was very close, but he will not get it. It is secured. Will they be able to take down the Crocodile himself? Does look like he will fall here, and that is a kill going over to Rikameza. 4 kills to Dynasty, not quite the perfect game, Xingyi, as they lost their turret earlier, but it is certainly looking good for Dynasty as they are starting to make some moves.
Definitely, and Techno JJ and Palmatoro are staying very, very clear so far. And I think part of the issues that we're seeing in the fights is that Nettolet on that Finn normally almost always lands those quibbles, really struggling to land them onto PT Lam thanks to the ability that Idris offers. And that's proving a massive issue because he's able to dance right around everyone, just going straight onto Palmatoro and Techno JJ every single time. And beginning to make things a little bit more difficult. FNATIC still holding on to that 1k gold lead right now. It looks like.
Something that this Tornado Trigger does really well for PT Lam is when he has that white bar underneath his health full and he uses his Shroud Strap, he gets a shield, Xingyi. And because the Tornado Trigger gives extra attack speed and of course crit, he actually can dive in onto the turret, get the shield to eat up any damage that might come his way, and whittle down the turret very, very quickly. So PT Lam understanding the kind of advantage of this Tornado Trigger build, and you can see when they do get to turrets, he feels comfortable enough actually using his Shroud Step aggressively to just auto-attack turrets.
Yeah, we're seeing that coming out from PC Lam, looking very comfortable on that weapon Idris there. And even though Techno JJ is still out farming PC Lam by about 25 CS, it doesn't really seem to be making too much of an impact as PC Lam pick up the kills very easily here. And Palmatoro, I think he's so far he's gone for a very aggressive build. It's pretty standard for Sky there with the Eve of Harvest, Frostburn, and Broken Myth. I'm actually expecting him to be going for those armor because PC Lam going straight onto Palmatoro every single time in those team fights, just straight onto him. And there's not really that much that Palmatoro can do. Even using his Series Strike to try and escape isn't offering that much defense against him.
No, it's no defense whatsoever. So this Tornado Trigger is actually making a lot of sense because of Palmatoro's reluctance to build armor. The Tension Bow would have been a better item if Palmatoro went into the armor tree, but because he hasn't, the Tornado Trigger is still very effective against the Sky, and PT Lam has been using it to great effect so far. 20 minutes now, Xingyi. The gold still advantaged over to FNATIC due to their early early lead through CS and objectives, but currently it feels like the tempo of this game is in Dynasty's hands.
Yep, and Palmatora, I think this forward barrage is struggling to make an effect now because we are seeing that Arden scaling really well into the late game, so he is able to soak up that damage extremely well. So before at the start, we were seeing the forward barrage just eating up the health. Oh, they've managed to pull Rikameza in!
Yeah, they pull Rikameza in, but he's instantly out. It looks like Dynasty want to re-engage this, but look at the health on to Mowgli here. He needs to pop the fountain. He does. He's going to use the gauntlet, but it's not enough. Does catch Techno JJ. Currently, it is PT Lamb trying to find Palmatora, but now he has to run, and he is going to separate himself from Rikameza. Can Rikameza get to safety is the question. If he dies here, then the Kraken will be likely to go over to FNATIC. Just get away. Is going to be able to dodge Techno JJ just in time. FNATIC will be wary that a port back to base was present, so they're not really wanting to start this Kraken up. I feel okay, they are.
They are going to start the Kraken up.
They might just be looking to start a fight though, hoping that Rikameza and PT Lamb contest.
I don't think they don't know about it because we do see PT Lamb. He's just teleported back home. There's going to be absolutely no contest there for that Kraken. That
is huge right there for FNATIC Shinyi. I'm surprised that we saw absolutely no contest from Rikameza, not even a walk up to the tri-bush to see if it's going on. They just gave it up.
Yeah, there wasn't much vision down either. They get the Force Accord in and the Gauntlet gets thrown down.
Yeah, they're looking for a fight here, PT Lamb, but he isn't going to be able to find anything. A bit of damage will go down onto this turret. Mowgli just holding the Gauntlet open to make sure that FNATIC are held back from this turret for as long as possible. This turret will bow down. Will Dynasty look for another engage? The question. Rikameza, so much damage onto him. PT Lamb goes in aggressively. Death from above will not find a target, but the forward barrage is doing work. Techno JJ gets slowed down his attack speed, but it doesn't matter as Mowgli will be forced to return. And they are going to look to try and get their health bars back up as PT Lamb just throws his chakram out for the extra damage. That's a Frostburn picked up for Rikameza. Death from above will eat this turret up, but it will just be that, I think, for FNATIC. Dynasty will finish the Kraken off, and unless FNATIC find a Force Accord onto Mowgli, not really the priority target, then it will just be the Kraken going down and FNATIC disengaging.
They're going to get some, but they're not even going to get a chance off back of that, but it's surprising in itself that they were able to pick up the Kraken with absolutely no contest. They're very worthwhile Kraken, giving them 2 turrets there, and they're sitting on a 2.4k gold lead now for FNATIC. It's been a very cerebral game, to say the least, coming from the two teams. A completely different story from the first game off between these two teams here, and I think in the team fights, I would still say PT Lamb and doing an extremely strong job, and the FNATIC just are really avoiding those team fights. It's all about just poking away at their targets there. Getting Mowgli, trying to soak as much damage as possible. They don't really want to engage in those all 3 versus 3 brawls because it's not going out very well. PT Lamb always goes straight on to Techno JJ and straight to Palmatora.
Look at that purchase there from Net2Let. Echo onto Finn. When you activate the Echo, whichever ability you use last, you can use again.
And it had, I think it had a bit of a buff as well, so it's a bit cheaper than it was. Sorry, in 2.5 it had a bit of a buff, a bit cheaper, and it gives you a little bit more energy and cooldown as well. So a really great pickup there, especially for a Finn. You've got extra cooldown, so that your Force Accord is up at that little bit more. And it has been blocked very well by Mowgli so far. So now that Echo, they can't really block it every single time.
Yeah, no, that is it. Energy up by 50 and the cooldown down by 5. So it means that the Forced Accord could be coming up very often. Oh, he hits the first one. Now he has the Echo if he wants to go in. It's going to be a double quibble used by the Echo and a lot of damage coming out. But Rikameza going to have to try and escape this one. Can't go in aggressively with this Adagio. Manages to dodge the quibble. PT Lamb trying to find the damage. He is going to Shroud Step away with his Shimmer Strike as well. Mowgli, the lowest of the Dynasty gang. FNATIC still chasing a Techno JJ with a very healthy health bar, but PT Lamb wants to change that as he dives forward. Doesn't hit the Chakram, but Rikameza is able to finish off Net2Let, and now the chase is on as Rikameza is going to charge forward. If he can just get on to Techno JJ, he might be able to find a kill, but he's not quite able to. Palmatora, maybe not with the same fate as PG Lamb will look to finish off the job, and that is going to be him going down. But
Rikomeza.
Rikomeza falls to both the death from above and that Crystal Sentry. A bit of a mistake there from Dynasty, but they should still be able to take this Kraken if Mowgli is the one to tank it.
They absolutely should. And I think in that last fight, Nettoilette hadn't used his Fountain and was holding on to it for so long. And by the time that Dynasty turned on him, he wasn't able to use it for his teammates. So, but it wasn't, at least they were able to get the kill there on Rikomeza. I'm not sure if this is a good idea for Techno JJ.
They just
to come
turn.
and steal this.
If Techno JJ goes too far forward, he's going to throw his weight for it out when he thinks the Kraken is there. Oh, they turned without Techno JJ committing. So that is actually a huge mistake there for Dynasty, because now Techno JJ has a better chance of stealing this. Really needed to wait for Techno JJ to actually aggress in, and here he comes looking for Mowgli. PT Lamb just needs to dive on top of him and finish the job, but he's not going to. They're going to split, and that's going to be the Kraken lost there. Dynasty going to disengage it. In fact, Techno JJ is going to start it back up. Dynasty once more just going to give this straight on over. This time, though, PT Lamb will check to make sure that it is being done, and it is going to actually be FNATIC disengaging it.
An incredibly risky move there coming from Techno JJ, but really paid off at the end. He was prevented them from taking the crack and was able to force Mowgli to go back home as well. It's a really strong position for FNATIC to be in right now. They're still sitting on that 2.5k gold lead between the two teams, and it's incredibly tense right now. We're going to 26-minute game. I think the last game of the series, it finished around 16-17 minute mark. Significantly more kills now. FNATIC, they're gearing up. They're all infused up as well.
As our Dynasty at this point. So even playing field Shinyi, 53,000 gold versus 51 items practically completed, just looking for some tier 3s on Palmatoro. FNATIC aggressing forward. Echo pulls all three in. That's a huge force of cord. That's going to be a Gauntlet locking down. PT Lamb taking so much damage. Going to have to use that Shimmer Strike. He gets the heal, but he's silent. He's going to go down here. I don't see him escaping. Quibble locks him up. Oh, it stops the Verse of Judgment. That is so huge from FNATIC. Nettoilette carrying that team fight by himself. A 3-man force to cord. A double Quibble to not only kill PT Lamb, but stop a Verse of Judgment. FNATIC going to start pushing forward, take this Kraken. They want to go to the finals.
A beautifully executed fight, and I think looking at the cooldowns there with the Kraken as well, there is not much the Dynasty can do right now, and I think if they just really committed for the fight once they take the Kraken and just take down FNATIC, maybe they have a chance. But right now it's not looking too great right now. Techno JJ just being such a nuisance there to Mowgli, trying to get some damage down on the turret. I just don't know if he's going to be able to take that turret down in time. There's not much that Mowgli can do.
It was worth an attempt from Techno JJ. Sky takes this Kraken very slowly. Sky and Samuel were the worst Kraken takers from the jungle, really. But Techno JJ had an opportunity to try and get some damage down onto that Bane Crystal turret, and it was worth an attempt nonetheless. Now Kraken Unleashed for FNATIC. Dynasty, they need to defend here, or they are going to the third place decider.
Yeah, but they definitely are. The gold that they're sitting on 56.5 to 53k gold, and Dynasty not looking too great right now with that Kraken pushing down, and I feel like Nettoilette gearing himself up for that force record. He's had some really great ones. He's had some really strong ones in the past. There's no vision.
Blind over the wall, pulls Rikomeza and Mowgli in. They're going to go for the fight. Gauntlet goes down, but Rikomeza is dead for all right. That's going to be the kill going over to Techno JJ as he tries to dance away from PT Lamb. Can he escape is the question. A huge double Quibble, a double kill for Techno JJ. He gets the triple kill. Can you say FNATIC? They're going to face Mouse in our finals.
What a series that was. 2-0 there for FNATIC, and both games, I think I said this numerous times actually, FNATIC, completely different story every single time. They switched up their playstyles incredibly well, and Dynasty, there was definitely moments in the teamfights they were looking extremely strong, but I think at the end, once we saw the cooldowns on the force record really dropping thanks to that Echo as well, and the infusions coming from Nettoilette, not every single one could be blocked, and I think that 2-person over-the-wall force record at the very end absolutely flawlessly pulled off there.
Incredible plays from Nettoilette, easily my MVP in that game, Shinyi. FNATIC, a huge performance from them today. Let's throw it back to Munch to break down this game.
There we have it, a 2-0 for FNATIC. Honestly, partway through that game, we really weren't sure who was going to be able to take that one. It definitely looked like it could have gone either way, but towards the later stages, FNATIC really pulling it out. And even in terms of the builds and things, FNATIC innovating there, going with the Echo on the Finn, and it really worked out during those fights. But let's talk about the draft. I mean, the Finn, again, something that has been coming in a little bit, and as well as Sky, like quite a few things about the FNATIC draft that are a little bit unorthodox.
Yeah, I really like the way the Finn got played here. Maybe showing that Finn is someone that teams have to start going back to once again. Because it always seems like whenever Finn falls out of the meta, like no changes happen to him, but he always somehow finds his way back into the meta. Like not necessarily as a priority, as a top tier captain, but always as a fringe pick that can be strong and have an impact in a game.
Yeah, and there was, I've got to say, towards the later stages of that game, there was a few forced accords that probably should have been blocked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, atomization too. Tornado Trigger on Idris is good, but once both of the enemy carriers have Metal Jacket, it kind of limits your amount of damage potential. And also, Adagio Jungle is really weird. It has never been meta. It used to be way back a few patches ago. So I found that was interesting. He also didn't max his ultimate, which I felt, as a carrier Adagio, you definitely want to max your ultimate and try to get it off because the sheer amount of damage that it does. And Finn was a really good pick, and I knew that if FNATIC got to late game with this Finn composition, along with Sky and Vox, they're going to take it away because there wasn't a lot Idris can do if Finn is giving the polite companies and the quibbles. It just really worked in their favor. And they lost this fight because Finn didn't fountain. So that's a big reason why Finn got deleted there, and Adagio was able to pick up that kill.
Yeah, and this was kind of like the moment of glory for Dynasty, but they couldn't ever really replicate this again.
Yeah, they had, like you said, they had strengths, they had chances, but just not able to put together multiple fights in a row. And then again, just some mistakes down the stretch, like this right there. That one should have been blocked. That's then that gauntlet. Really bad gauntlet for Mowgli there, to be completely honest. It doesn't hit anybody, and it's on the opposite side of the team from where his teammates are. So then he immediately has to leave the gauntlet, and it goes down without having any impact on the fight.
Yeah, it doesn't get the instant stun, and then it also doesn't defend your teammates, as they can't
doesn't
run through
control
it.
any area at all.
Yeah, so bit unfortunate situation there coming out, and it does mean that Mowgli and the rest of his team are going to be eliminated, or not eliminated. They go to the third place match, but that one's not going to be on stream today. It does mean we have our second team moving on forward to go against Mouse in our finals. FNATIC versus Mouse final. That is definitely going to be an interesting one. But before we move on to that topic, I want to get your final thoughts on this series, because coming in, we were talking about how this would be a real test for Dynasty. Does FNATIC taking this 2-0 say a lot of bad things about Dynasty, or does it say more good things about FNATIC?
I think this is a lot of really good things about FNATIC. Not necessarily too many bad things about Dynasty. There definitely are some bad things about Dynasty, but some things that they can very easily change. Like I was not thrilled with Riku Meza on the Adagio in either game, either in the lane or the jungle. So I think maybe move away from putting Riku Meza on that hero, and they'll look a little bit better. But there were definitely some gaps in Dynasty's play that FNATIC was able to take advantage of, and FNATIC just played a lot cleaner than Dynasty, and that's my biggest takeaway, is how clean FNATIC looked in